Hello guys, Ashley here, also known as the Asian fan, back with another Cobra Kai video, and we're going to be continuing my part 2 on reasons, on things I don't like about Cobra Kai. And today we were doing reasons 7, 8, and 9, so I tried to see if anything else came to me, like maybe a number 10 reason, but I couldn't think about anything, so if something happens to come to me, I'll mention it in my Hawk video. I am going to make a video about Hawk and talk about how he was like just completely nerfed so bad in the show after like season 4. And so yeah, let's get into it. This video probably won't be long because I don't even have a lot of reasons. So let's see how long I'll elaborate. But coming in, reason number 7 is forced drama and conflicts and just repetitive drama. This is really a huge problem for me, and it annoys me the most about this show is that there's always like forced conflicts or like just repetitive drama that we don't need to keep seeing. For example, in season 6 episode 1, there is this big conflict on what the dojo should be named, since Johnny and Daniel have decided to combine their dojos. Daniel didn't like the names, and I agree. I'm trying to explain this in a way that makes sense. I think the name that they did choose was way too goofy. I will agree with him there. Calling it Ego Fang, like, no, not Ego Fang, Miyagi Fang Do. It was something. And they like made it like a vampire. Like, it was just too goofy. Like, this is karate. This is not a supernatural thing. I could definitely understand what he was saying, but at least Daniel was willing to compromise and try to figure out what they can do. But I definitely understood where he was coming from. Miyagi-Do has a huge tradition. This is Miss Miyagi's home. I'm not gonna turn his karate name into vampires. That's ridiculous and it's dumb. I do appreciate the kids for trying to find something creative and spontaneous to name it, but that is way too goofy in my opinion. And then on to that, Chosen and Johnny get into it, and they talk about we're gonna fight with the first 3 points, see who gets to name the dojo. And I'm just thinking, like, are they serious? Are the writers serious? They're all supposed to be working together, and you decide to have them fight over who's gonna name the dojo. Just figure out a name. Just name it how they named it in towards like the middle of season 6. Miyagi-Do Fang, or something like that. Miyagi-Do Fang, like, it literally is catchy. It makes a lot of sense. You have Miyagi, you have Do, and then you have Fang in the end. It's all combined. And then Chosen said that that's dumb. He said that this is a rich tradition. He said that we shouldn't change the name. I feel like it's only worthy of a compromise, because if Johnny's here, Johnny should feel like he is part of this dojo in some way. So I feel like changing the name or putting in a way that he can feel comfortable, like how they did do that in season 4 when he would have his side and Daniel would have his side to train. Just trying to find ways to make him feel comfortable. Like, that to me was just so stupid. And like the fact Daniel was trying to talk them both out of it, and then they both wouldn't listen. They were being so stubborn about not listening. And then it took Johnny to come up at the end of the episode to say that he doesn't want to fight and that he loves working with Daniel and Chosen. They make him better senseis, and they all admit they do make each other better. But it's like, this is a repetitive thing in the show, that whenever you think that a character apologizes, or whenever they make you think that the conflict is done, and 3 episodes later the characters are going right back to that conflict. It happens a lot with Johnny and Daniel, and it is so annoying. It happens all the time. I don't know why they kept doing this. If you ask me what season they did not need to be arguing, it's definitely in season 6. That was so dumb. Why are they arguing? And it was stupid too. Like, the arguments weren't even anything like major. It was just about, like, they got into it about Tori leaving, and you know, Daniel felt like that Johnny was wrong. Johnny felt like he was wrong, and I understand on some extent where they're both coming from. If Tori wants to fight with aggression and let it all out with her grief, that is up to Tori. But I can totally understand Daniel and Amanda feeling like she's not in the right headspace to fight, because it's like she should be grieving. Putting her in this tournament to fight, it would seem selfish on their end. So I definitely understand where Daniel was coming from. And like I said in my last rant, and when you did watch the Sakai tournaments, Tori's head was not in the game. They were losing. Cobra Kai was going to be sent home if the other team wasn't on those drugs. They would have been sent home because her head was not in the game. And like, I think that was just kind of like sideline to like Tori, her grieving. Like, where's her brother living at? Like, they didn't elaborate on any of that. Like the Johnny and Daniel thing, that repetitive shit got really annoying to me. Like, it got really annoying. Like, not even that. Like the Miguel and Sam thing, the on again off again thing, that was like really boring. And like, I just didn't care. Like, it just got really, really irritating, like, just seeing, like, the same repetitive shit over and over again. Like, even on some extent in season 6, like, why is Miguel and Robbie arguing? Like, why find a way to make them argue over a captain spot? Like, it just seemed so predictable that they were going to argue over this in season 6. It was so predictable. It's like, when they put all that beef aside and learn to become brothers, they gonna argue over who deserves a captain spot over who. It just seemed very forced. The Dimitri and Hawk shit, they learn how to be friends. They learn how to become friends, even though Hawk is a different person now. And then season 6, you decided to have them argue over who's going to what college. It was just, I understand what they were doing because they were friends for a long time. So I understand what the writers were doing. It just dragged on for way too long. That dragged all the way into episode, I believe, 8, I believe, of season 6. I believe 8. Way too long. They dragged that out. They dragged that so out. And I'm thinking, like, why are they dragging this? It just got redundant. Like, it got really redundant. And it was some extent, I was starting to think they were doing that with Tori and Sam in season 5. When is it season? No. It's not season 5. It was season 6. When, y'all remember when Johnny, and I feel like that was kind of just like, that seemed like 10 steps back for where Johnny was. Because he told Daniel that Tori and Sam have turned into pussies. And he said they won't fight each other. And then he said find a way for them to, I'm not like, it's like training. They train with the kids and everything. But since Tori and Sam were becoming friends, it made them very like weird that they were going to like train each other, like fight. Cause, you know, they had like a really strong beef. You know, you wouldn't want fighting. You wouldn't want that side to come out of you over something stupid. So I can understand why they just didn't like want to go hard on each other. But for Johnny to like come up with this plan of making them come into an argument to fight, it just seemed very out of character to me. Using things like Miguel and Robbie using their phones to draw a conflict, I just feel like that just don't seem right. Yet this is the same Johnny who he was trying to fix the situation with. What you see, the difference between Miguel and Robbie in their situation is that they needed to fight. They needed to fight to get that aggression out because Robbie did try to kill Miguel, and Miguel never really had his one with him. So it was still lying in the sand with that. Like, it was still just unresolved beef. There was never no apology. There was never no nothing for Robbie. So when Miguel saw him, it was up and it was stuck. That made sense for them to fight. And then when they got it out of their system, they're like, okay, we're good. Like, sometimes you need a fight to get out your system. Some people are not like that. Some people are. But for them, it was like, it made sense for them to come back together after that. I know a lot of people thought that was rushed. Me personally, I didn't see it that way. I felt like what they needed was to fight and then get over it. Well, with Tori and Sam, they went back and forth numerous times in season 2, in season 3, and in season 4. It's like, how many times you want to see them go round after round after round after round? It's like, how many times you want to keep seeing that? No. Her and Tori, I was so happy when they decided to squash it because, honestly, it should have not taken Sam 5, 6 seasons to apologize. That was absurd. Instead of Miguel and Robbie trying to force them to be friends because everybody is dating, they should have been telling them to apologize for the mistakes they each have made, in my opinion. So for Johnny to try to force them to fight, I just wasn't feeling that. I just felt like, it just don't seem right. Like, it don't seem like he would want them to do this. Instead of them trying to fight, he should have been trying to get them to come over the conflict. But I was happy when they decided to talk about it and not get into it. Like, when they got into it outside, when she said, well, it's not the first time we tried to steal my boyfriend. She said that was an accident. And she said, you never apologized for it. I'm not going down what they said, but, you know, when they were, like, going back and forth and Sam said, I'm sorry, it was like, it was about time she apologized because Tori really didn't do anything to Sam when she first came in season 2. Sam was just being a hater, and Sam was just being a jealous ass bitch. And I feel like Tori definitely deserved the apology. And I always feel like Tori was just very validated for always getting her get back on Sam, because Sam really came after her for literally no reason. Sorry, my sister was texting me. So yeah, I just feel like the forced conflicts and the forced drama, and like not even that, like y'all bringing up the Sam and Tori shit after this happened like 4 seasons ago, like 5 in season 5 they were like kind of cool. But do I feel like the conversation that they needed that conversation? Yes. I just didn't like how the way the writers were trying to write it to make it happen. Like they were trying to put them in a position to fight to get it out, and it's just like when they decided to not have them fight, I was just like, I like this a lot better, because it made a lot of sense for Miguel and Robbie to fight over Sam and Tori, in my opinion, because Sam and Tori have went round after round after round after round, and I just didn't want to keep seeing that. To me, I definitely feel like the show relies way too much on repetitive conflicts and drama, way too much. Like even the Kenny and Anthony thing, it's like we're so over this. Like in season 5, it's like, who cares about this? Like, okay, Kenny, he learned karate and whatnot. It's like, I don't care about him bullying Anthony. I don't care about Anthony, and I don't care about Kenny. And speaking of Kenny, the actor who plays him, his dialogue was so cringy in seasons 4 and 5. Like, his acting was so cringe. Like, whenever I watch, like, in season 6, he wasn't bad, but when, like, he first got there, I'm thinking, like, he is so cringe. Like, he really is bad. Like, I don't know if it was the line delivery or maybe how they wrote it. I don't think the dialogue is bad in Cobra Kai, but the way that he, like, fed off the lines, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, it was really cringe. Like, it was just really cringy. Like, I'm trying to think of a scene that, like, made me, like, cringe. When the scene in season 5, episode 10, when he was like, you know what happened to you and your friends stuff in the dojo again. It was just like, why is he talking like that? Like, so aggressive. It's just like, it's so forced. I'm sorry, the Kenny actor, he don't cut it. And the actor that plays Kyler too, he's very annoying. Like, they make him come off way too strong as like this douchebag, and it's just like, I can't take him seriously when everything he says come out of his mouth is just like, you ever like watch somebody just say something you can't help but laugh? That's kind of how it is with him. Like, I laugh every time he says something. Like in season 3 when they came into the house to fight, he was like, it's payback, Leah. I just start laughing every time because like I just don't take him seriously. I don't take him seriously as a character. But that was number 7. Just forced conflict and repetitive drama. It's so annoying, and it gets very boring. I feel like it gets very drawn out in the show. Coming in at number 8 is not enough adult and teen dynamics. I feel like to have all these teenagers in the show and all these adults, there was really not enough adult and teen dynamics. Like, I honestly feel like if you ask me, like, out of all the adults, Johnny got all the dynamics. He had Miguel, he had Devin, he had Robbie, and like, who did Chosen get? Chosen had no dynamic with any kid. Who did Daniel get? They said fuck all the dynamics that Daniel had. Daniel had a dynamic with Robbie. They said fuck that. Daniel had a dynamic with Dimitri. They said fuck that. Daniel had a dynamic with Hawk. They said fuck that. They said fuck to all of that. Daniel, at the end, the only dynamic Daniel has is with Sam. That's it. Oh, Miguel too. Daniel had a Daniel Miguel, they said fuck that too. I actually was really enjoying that in seasons 4 and 5, but then it was just like, oh no, fuck it. I hated that. It's like, why is the only person that Daniel gets to give advice to, interact with, is just Sam? It's like, what happened to Dimitri? What happened to, especially Robbie? That one to me keeps me up at night, just thinking like, wow, how can the writers just completely forget about this? Daniel took Robbie in as like a surrogate father. They had a really great dynamic. The chemistry felt so real, and like, it was just weird to me. Like, they didn't decide to just squash on that like a bug. Like, I really wasn't fucking with it. I still don't fuck with it. Like, Amanda had something going on with Tori, and like they said fuck that too. Like, I actually was liking that Amanda, that somebody was giving Tori a chance outside of like John Kreese and people who know her situation. Like, it was really nice seeing, because Amanda actually like owed Tori that when she got her fired. Like, that scene where Amanda comes to the restaurant and say, "You don't leave my daughter alone, I'm gonna have to report you to the authorities." It's like, hold on, are you seriously threatening a teenager? You're a grown ass woman. Get a grip. But now Sam can't handle her own motherfucking battle stuff about my daughter has scratches and bruises. It's like, shut up. I do not understand why Daniel and Amanda treat Sam as if she don't do nothing wrong. Like, they rarely call out her bad behavior. If I can count on a hand of how many times Daniel has called out her bad behavior, I don't think I have enough time, because there's the only thing to me that comes to my mind when he actually did it was a scene in season 4, episode 5, when he said that you're talking about that she's always attacking you, but your mom tells me that at that party you attacked her first. That was really it. Other than that, I feel like her bad behavior is never called out, is never put on punishment, just nothing. They treat Sam as if like she's just this delicate flower, and like that's far from it. Yeah, they might have came to the house, but you should be asking your daughter why the fuck she decided to post a, she wanted to do internet thugging and be Instagram thugging about taking Cobra Kai down. So we decided to pull up and we decided to finish the fight. The fuck you mean? She put out the tweet and we showed up and we fought them. That's what happened. At the end of the day, don't be Twitter thugging, don't be Instagram thugging if you can't back it up. Period. That's what Sam and them get. Why are they running their mouths, doing yada yada yada, when they get their asses beat every single time? They get their asses handed to them by Cobra Kai every time. It's like, are y'all not tired of getting your asses beat at this point? Because seems to me, y'all like getting your asses whooped. Like, they don't ask Sam those type of questions. Like, what were you doing, going to golf and stuff, and picking a fight? It's like it's always someone else's fault. It's never Sam's fault. And, like, that's, like, really annoying. So when Amanda came there and threatened Tori and got her fired, I was happy that they decided to, like, have her help Tori out by getting her mom a better doctor, helping Tori find another job, helping Tori get back into school. Like, I honestly really did like that. And her telling Daniel that she's been in before. She been in Tori's situation where she just wanted to take her anger out on the world because of the situation that she was in. And I definitely feel that way. I definitely feel like Tori might have had a lot of pent-up anger inside of her because of her unfair situation with her having to have so much responsibility so young. And like I said, that it's crazy to me that CPS never came to that door about any of the shit that Tori was going through. Like, because you would think a situation like that, CPS would get involved. Like, Tori and her brother would literally be in a foster care facility because of the situation that they're in. But maybe it's because if she don't go to school, so that's why CPS isn't involved. But I just still feel like, on some extent, shouldn't like there be like some CPS involved in the storyline? Just me. So I love the fact that Amanda understood where Tori was coming from, that her dad cheated on her mom, so she took it out on the mistress. Like, she's definitely been there. So it was nice seeing that. But what happened after that? There's no more Amanda and Tori moments, but there is a scene in season 6 where Tori was telling Daniel and Amanda that she's never had people like ride for her and believe in her so much, and they've given her a family. It's like the scene was very sweet, but it's like Tori and Daniel don't have no interactions at all for her to be telling him that. I could understand her telling Amanda that, but for her to be telling him that, it just seemed like it seemed very forced. Because it's like these two characters don't even interact at all in any moment. They don't interact at all. I just hate the fact there's not enough adult and teen dynamics on the show. Because you would think with all these adults here and with all these teenagers, there should be no excuse why there's not enough dynamics, in my opinion. Just my opinion. And last but not least, rushed storylines. This is something that I realized in the show. Now, there's not a lot. I could be lying. There are some that really bother me, but there's not a lot. Some of what I mean by like rush storylines, I mean like people decided to like turn their leaves, like they're turning a new leaf, like the situation with Hawk and Robbie, like them deciding to like go to the good side, like that just seemed very rushed. There was no development to that. There was no like to any of that. It kind of just happened so very fast in my opinion. On some extent, I feel like the Johnny and Robbie thing was kind of rushed at the end of season 4 because again, it just sticks from Robbie. He came here to this tournament, coming here to put down Cobra Kai, and like now he's had like a whole new leaf. Like it just seems so rushed. Like you understand what they were doing. It just seemed very rushed to me. It just seems very rushed. I was happy they decided to go with the Robbie and Johnny thing because it was getting very tiring. It's like, are y'all going to do something with this, or y'all going to let it lie? Because y'all need to do something with it, please. I just got tired of Robbie whining about not having a dad. I hate to say it like that, but that's just how it came off. There's just a lot of rushed storylines to me. It's ridiculous. I feel like Miguel, his storyline was rushed in season 3. Sam, her storyline was rushed. That was like, it all just felt like extremely rushed to me, and I didn't understand it. Another thing too I want to add about the show is how in the living fuck do all these kids get karate after having like one day of training? How? That just seems so unrealistic to me. How do these kids become fucking black belts after having like one day of training? When Tori first came here in the show, it said she had no experience, but she was able, to fight Miguel off on the mat. And then when you watch the rest of the season, the fight with Sam, she's a fucking black belt. She's keeping up with Sam, and yet like you really don't see what Tori can do in the dojos. You don't really see a lot of what she can do. But in the school fight with Sam, she's keeping up with Sam, and yet Sam has had previous training, and she's even having more training. If you really think about it, Tori really should have not been keeping up with Sam in that school fight. But just whoop the motherfucking do, Tori can keep up with her, even though we don't even see Tori really training that much. It's absurd to me. It's like Tori is basically a black belt. It's like fuck the white belt, fuck the yellow belt, or how many color belts there are. She's already a black belt. Like half these kids become black belts after just training one day. Like it's kind of like, really? I know if I did training for karate, I wouldn't get it in just 1 week or 1 day. Like when Terry Silver taught Kenny that chess method about how to make sure keeping your opponent from breathing, Kenny got that after 1 day of training. After it took Terry Silver a long time to learn that from his master. Are you serious? It just seemed like laughable punishment to give that to the Hawk character. Like it just seemed like punishment for Hawk. I just don't understand how these kids just get training so fast. I just feel like, what the fuck happened to the training montages? Like, what happened to them? I think season 1 and 2 is when you saw the most training montages. Like, they're actually like training and like stuff like that. And sometimes some of the things that they train them on, they don't even use in like tournaments. In season 2, there's an example. Daniel is in episode 7. Daniel is teaching them how to fight like in a circle, and there's one thing that Robbie and Sam did use, and that was in the mall fight. They did learn how to fight like side by side. But in the other training session with Daniel, he was like calling out numbers and like testing out their training elements and like seeing how much they've learned. But like when it comes to like tournaments, they kind of don't use stuff like that. Like it's kind of hard to explain. I feel like sometimes they don't use what they've been taught. Um, it's just like confusing. It just seems like there's no point of training when these kids already can get it. Like it honestly just seems like what's the point when they can just get it that fast? Um, I really don't have much to say. That was just kind of like the video, really. That was part two. Like I said, if anything else comes to me, I will mention it in the Hawk video. I think the Hawk video is the one that I was planning on doing. I think there was another one, but I've forgotten it, so I might have to write it down. But that was the only video that I'm doing for today. I was going to do the Hawk video today, but it's Monday. It's the day before I go back to work, so I'm going to relax before I go back to work tomorrow. So I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for listening.